Hello and welcome to all of you out there in the non-space that is the internet. I am your pal, J Ishiro Finney, author and alien, and this is Ishi's Great Big Alien Show, the show in which I take off the human suit, cease to pretend that I'm a human and a skeptic, stop pretending that all this supernatural, paranormal, UFO stuff isn't really real. It's just various phenomena that we have yet to explain or misperceptions. And I just admit, no, it's all fucking real. That's the show we're listening to. And unfortunately, my lovely and voluptuously chested co-host, my lovely wife, Kat, the night editor, is in Virginia right now. So she is not present, unfortunately, to co-host. I had mentioned last week that we were going to do Brazilian UFO lore. And I really want to save that for when Kat's in the room and we can do that together. So I'm going to give that a week. Sorry, Elton, which is a real shame because I've been doing some recent research. And believe it or not, I believe back in May, they had a reported UFO crash that the government wouldn't let anyone near. Was it a UFO crash or was it a top secret drone? Who knows? But I've seen the footage and it's rather interesting. TLOU2 has a very unsatisfying plot. What the hell's that? TLOU? Oh, The Last of Us 2 has a... Look, why would you even play it, man? Why would you play that? Seriously. There is no reason to play that unless you just like pain, so don't complain. So anyway, instead of doing Brazilian UFOs and UFO lore, we're going to cover something a little more topical, a little more direct, something that's happening right now in this nation, on the streets, and within the media space. There's been a lot of debate about racial differences, a lot of arguing, a lot of accusations of, what would we say, historical segregation and oppression and systematic racism. And so we're going to get the straight dope from one of these. I'm going to talk to one of those people. Okay, I'm just going to be racist here. We got one of those people on air. Let me introduce Orcanonymous. He is a real-life American orc.
What do you mean, those people?
Orcs.
Could you be more specific?
As in not human, orc. You're an orc, right?
Yes. Your point?
Nothing at all. Just that you are an orc. And welcome to the show.
What's that supposed to mean?
It would mean welcome to Ishi's Great Big Alien Show. We're anxious to hear what a real life orc has to say about everything. Well, why don't you just tell us about yourself? Who are you? Where are you from?
Well, I can't answer all of your questions. I'm not Mr. Wizard or something after all. But I can tell you this, I live in Chicago. That's where Grandpappy Humphrey settled us.
A lot of orcs live in Chicago?
Of course they do. Do you not know nothing?
I'm consider me a completely uninformed gray alien, okay? I have no clue what, okay? Just, and assume our listeners don't know fuck all either, really. Just, are there a lot of orcs in Chicago?
Yes.
So why are there a lot of orcs in Chicago?
Well, I will teach you history. I'm sure your watchers or listeners that don't know fuck all also probably don't know either.
Is there orc homeland?
There was. There isn't anymore, thanks to humans. He says.
Okay. And what? Fill us in. What was this place called? I've never heard of an orc homeland.
It was in the middle of Central Europe at the time. It was called Orca.
Or you mean like a killer whale, orca?
No, not like a killer whale. That word came much later. Orca means of the orcs. It pleases the orcs that remain to think that you named a big, fat, black and white fish after our homeland.
You know that's not a fish, right?
Tastes like a fish.
They're a whale. It's a mammal.
They cook the same.
Okay, never mind. So, okay. Are you originally from Orc homeland, Orca?
No, my family had to leave Orca. We went to Ireland until that stupid potato famine. Then Grandpa Humphrey took our whole clan into New York, where we met up with the gangs of New York and the police of New York, which weren't much better.
Well, they were Irish too, right?
Irish as in landing in the same country.
No, the police in New York. Weren't a lot of them Irish? I guess old rivalries.
Yeah. That's like saying, Alex Trebek is a rival to all the people on Jeopardy. It's not the same thing.
Okay. so okay, I'm still kind of a loss here. There was this country, Orca, in Eastern Europe.
Yes.
Central Eastern Europe.
Somewhere around what is now the Czech Republic.
Okay, so was there a war then, I take it?
There were a few wars. You humans take genocides far too personally.
Well, you'll be glad to know you're not talking to a human, so you don't have to hold any ill will. I am a Graylian, a Zeta Reticulan to be specific, from Serpo. Had nothing to do with it. So don't ask for reparations or anything. I have nothing to do with it.
Zeta Reticulan, Episcopalian, whatever. I don't follow all that nonsense.
Okay, so there were some wars. You went to Ireland, and then you went to New York.
Which was almost another war, yes. Yes, and when the Civil War broke out, we decided to leave. Great-Grandpa Humphrey, took our clan to Canada, where people were not so racist. But after a while, there became too many of us, and we had to move again. And the human silly Civil War was over, so we just moved back into Chicago. We came here illegally, but we're legal now.
And would we say Chicago's kind of now ever since been kind of a hub for Orc people then? Is that
you could say that.
I could.
You could. You have my permission.
Humphrey. Your grandfather's name was Humphrey. That's Germanic, right?
Germanic, yes. Humanic, no.
Elaborate.
The name Humphrey was from the Orcs before it was ever of the Germans.
So
they copied us.
So they appropriated your culture and stole your name, Humphrey.
Not the first time it's happened. Like pizza, that's our word. We made it up.
So you guys invented pizza, not the Italians?
Italian Americans stole it from us.
So what does an Orc pizza taste like?
Pretty much whatever you could find. You kill it, you grill it.
Is that like... So it... Okay.
All the Italians did was put cheese on it.
Okay, so you don't like Italians, you don't like Germans, you don't like Irish.
Don't get me started.
You're okay with it with Canadians for some reason.
They were all right.
They were all right?
A bit imaginary, but all right.
How about the French Canadians? Were they all right?
Tastes like chicken.
Okay. Okay, so your grandpa Humphrey, we're going down this story here. So he ends up in Chicago.
Yes.
And
a lot of trucking jobs, a lot of heavy labor jobs in Chicago.
So that last time I was in Chicago, the cab driver wasn't really, he was actually an Orc, probably?
Most likely. You can tell by the bend of the ears if they're sort of pointed and stick backwards. That's an orc. They stick upwards, all uppity, like they're better than everyone else. They're probably an elf.
Probably an elf.
Probably.
Is there some ill will toward the elves too? Is there kind of a thing where elves kind of the model minority? They're very successful. Their women are very beautiful. Is that kind of like an issue with you guys?
Well, that's also a myth that they have women. They're only women. If you can tell the difference between a male elf and a female orc, or female elf, then you're a better man than I.
All right then. So is who else was in your family? Your grandpa did trucking, I guess.
Well, surely you've heard of my famous Uncle Humphrey as well.
Was he a celebrity or something with orcs?
You must be joking. Well, you're not from Earth, so I'll forgive your ignorance. I'm sure all of your listeners have heard of my famous Uncle Humphrey, who's actually the person who invented the American hot dog.
Okay.
Oscar Mayer stole it from him.
You know, that's another Germanic name, too. Did they steal that name?
Oscar Mayer? No, he came with that name.
Okay, but he stole the hot dog from Uncle...
The modern American hot dog, yes.
And what was the original hot dog made of? Is it the same damn thing, just kind of a grease stick with a bunch of pork in it?
Originally, yes.
Was there any retribution for this theft, maybe? Or
well, we tried, but Oscar Mayer has really good lawyers. And apparently you can't storm a facility with torches and pitchforks anymore.
Well, you know, the thing is, I would have agreed with you last year. But you know, that's one of the reasons I wanted to bring you on is times they are a-changing. And, the torches and pitchforks tactic is back. It's going on right now. Actually, in your hometown right now in Chicago, there's a whole population out there. What? Are you guys part of that?
Absolutely not. You think that would be put up with, but if orcs were involved, then the cops would be opening fire. It'd be open season on the gray and green.
The gray and green?
The blue hate the gray and green. They always have.
I feel like I'm missing something.
Orcs are gray and green. We sometimes have sort of a pallor of looking like we're dead already. The blue is the police, obviously. I forgive you because you're not from Earth. You wouldn't know that.
Yes. I'm beginning to kind of feel like I'm lost here. I feel like for an alien, I must admit, I feel like I've entered a different world and that I'm not, we, on this show, we cover a lot of different topics, Bigfoot, Chupacabra, UFOs. Where do orcs fit into all that?
We don't. We're real. All the rest of that's nonsense.
You don't believe in... Okay, so alien. I'm an alien. You're saying I'm not real.
Well, you might be real, but the rest of them are. The rest of it isn't. You know that old grainy footage I have of Bigfoot walking through the woods?
Yeah.
That's actually my cousin Humphrey. He was doing a little bit of skinny dipping when some humans caught him on film.
Wait, okay.
He does have big feet, though.
Cousin Humphrey, Uncle Humphrey, Grandpa Humphrey, great-grandpa...
And my dad's name is Humphrey.
And so why are you called Orcanonymous? Look, we know your name's Humphrey, right?
Next question!
Okay. Okay, so you don't believe in Bigfoot's apparently your cousin Humphrey. No Chupacabra. Okay, well, you mentioned elves and dwarves. They're real then.
Dwarves are not. Elves were made by the great god Zok, just so we could have something to beat up on.
The great god Zok. Okay. Wait.
Yes.
Wait. Well, what about Wee Man or Hervé Villachez? I mean, look, dwarves are real. Or how about that guy who was all the Oompa Loompas in the Willy Wonka movie?
Little people are real. Doc made humans bite size.
Okay. Well, you realize that regular human culture has had a lot of writings themselves about dwarves and orcs and elves. I mean, it's kind of the backbone of modern.
Are you bringing up that Tolkien revisionist, rewriting history, making us out to be the bad guys?
Are you saying that he's a Holocaust denier for the orcs?
He very much is, rewriting the story so that we are the villains. Just because of a few failed genocides, the humans were allowed to survive. Everyone makes mistakes.
So Tolkien is a Holocaust or orc Holocaust denier. There are no dwarves. Okay, are there any other great revelations you want to get us that the rest of us are getting absolutely wrong here that we had assumed?
Well, apparently there are things called greys or zeta reticulans, in case anybody hadn't heard that yet.
Well, I gotta be honest, more people believe in my kind than you guys. I mean, most people thought you were purely mythical.
Well, that's not my fault. I just don't have my own YouTube channel. If I did, then you would all be much more educated.
So you were telling me was Zoc is your god?
Actually, Zoc is the god.
The god.
Yes, humans mistakenly named God. His name is actually Zoc. And the creation myth is all wrong in the Bible. It did not take him 7 days or 6 days and the 7th day to rest. It took him 4.5 days, and he took a nap.
He took a nap, okay.
He's still asleep. Don't wake him.
What happens if we wake him?
You don't want to know.
Are you sure?
We don't want to find out.
Okay. Well,
that's what my shaman tells me anyway.
Okay, so you don't have priests or ministers, you have shaman.
Yes.
Are there like shamanic churches or whatever in Chicago? And
yes, shamanic temples we call them.
Temples, okay.
And our shamans get very, very high, and then they try to divine what Great Zoc wants.
And what does he usually want?
Usually he wants money.
Oh, okay. Well, that's actually one area where my species differs from most that I've come across on this planet. My people, the Greys, we kind of lost religion when we got too deep into messing around with our own DNA. So essentially, my culture is entirely atheist at this point. So, again, what?
Ah!
Huh? So, you have a problem with atheists?
You're an atheist? Is that not someone who has sex with pumpkins? I don't judge people. I'm not like humans. I'm not a racist.
Okay. You know what? Let's get back to orcs and elves. So you said they're, as I'm sure you're quite aware, orc on elf porn is pretty popular on the internet these days. I mean, there's that, what is it? That website, Orct, that's really popular. Is any thought on that?
Yes, we like it very much.
Oh, so you're perfectly okay having sex with elves?
Yes, it's very easy. You don't have to ever worry about if they're male or female. They're pretty much all female on the inside.
Okay.
Got a few mixed drinks into any of them, you're gonna have your way with them.
Oh, so what's an orc or elf like then? You sound like speaking from experience.
I have a little experience. I have heard humans refer to them as spinners. If you know what a spinner is.
No.
It's when a young woman, human or elf in this case, doesn't have much of a body and sort of fits upon your masculinity, and you can spin their legs around like a propeller in front of you.
I'm really, really wishing at this point Kat was here. I am really wishing Kat was here. I feel like I'm out of my depth. I feel like I'm really out of my depth here.
Well, at 5 feet, you'd be out of your depth.
Look,
that would be the deep end for you.
I am tall for my species. 3'9" is pretty tall. Let's get back to you. Is it true what they say about orc men? Since we're talking about porn. So it is ribbed for her pleasure down there?
Yes. No orc woman or nor human or elf has ever said, I can't feel that, or are you in yet? I believe that's a human problem.
All right. So now let's get to the main issue here. We've gotten a feel for orc culture, I think, or who you are. I hope.
Yes. What part isn't clear? You in the chat, speak up.
Let's ask a few more questions, and then I'm going to let them at it. Okay.
Get ready.
I really, seriously, I want to cover the main topic first. Yes. We've got all this. Look, a lot of people are saying orcs are really just black people. Is that true? This whole BLM.
Orcs are orcs. Black people are gray.
Black people are gray.
Orcs don't see color very well.
Okay.
We pretty much only see red.
You see red and gray.
Red and gray, and that is it. So that's why we can't understand when you humans, or not you, but the humans in the chat, make big differences about white and yellow and purple and black, and you're gray. You're humans. That's enough to look down on right there, just that you're humans.
And so this whole thing about D&D, they want to remove orcs from D&D because they say it's racist because you're black people. That you are really black people.
Well, they want to rewrite history again, just like that Tolkien bastard. But we're here. We're real. And orc lives matter.
Oh, okay. So you guys are in the protest. Orc lives matter, huh?
To some extent. We're in the back so we don't get hit with the rocks and bottles or police bullets.
Okay.
Have you ever been tased?
It's been a long, long time.
Well, then you know it's no fun. It's better if humans get tased than orcs. It doesn't bother us when humans get tased.
Well, my species has a much more developed nervous system and it hurts like hell.
Pansies.
Maybe. We're not very good fighters. We prefer to use particle beams from a distance or telekinesis. We got some questions.
Or religious mumbo jumbo.
I really wish Kat was here.
So do I.
So do orcs like big tits?
Who doesn't love big tits? The only time you don't take a woman with big tits is when only spinners are left in the club.
So it's elves.
Elves, malnourished humans, whatever.
Okay, so we're going to get to the questions because, again, I feel like I've completely lost control of this interview, and I'm kind of lost here.
You had control?
Apparently not.
Arguable.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, I feel like I'm talking to a Klingon. Bar One Studios asks, blatant elf propaganda. If you can't tell how old she is, do you know how many fellas kissed? Do you know how many fellas kissed her? She's kissed.
Simple. You cut them open and count the rings.
Do you want to elaborate on that, or should we move on?
Probably move on. I don't want to incriminate myself.
Okay, Anime Acid Trip. He's a wizard, by the way. I don't know how you feel about magic.
It's not real.
Oh, well, okay. He doubts that orcs. He says orcs made hot dogs. I sense some doubt in that statement.
Yes, I'm sure that's some hot dog revisionist history from those bastards at Oscar Mayer.
Do you think Tolkien and Oscar Mayer kind of were in on this together?
I don't doubt it for a moment. He's probably got some some sort of special deal with them where they slip him the wiener.
Sorry.
What did I say?
Hold on.
Do Greys always laugh this much?
I'm out of my depth. Okay, look, I'm from outer space. I don't deal with this stuff. We're a very logical culture.
Well, let me be the first one to say, welcome to Earth. I know the humans didn't bother to say it to you. They're very uncouth. They have all the manners of a bag of marbles.
You may have a point there. So Endless Nocturne, he asks, opinion on non-orcs playing orcs for movies and TV. Also, how accurate are the depictions of orc Ds in porn? He's got a point. There, as I recall, every single orc in the Lord of the Rings movies were humans.
Most of them were, you're right. Because most of the orcs couldn't be counted upon to learn their lines. You write things in English. We don't read English. We read Orcish. So unless we could memorize it, they had to hire humans and use that IGC, CIG, CGI crapola. More religious nonsense.
Okay, so it wasn't racism on Peter Jackson's part then. He actually tried to employ you guys and you just weren't very good at it.
To be fair, no, we were not. But when things needed to be lifted or hefted or carried across set, we were there for him.
Oh shit, I finally figured it. I have seen you guys. You guys are fucking Teamsters, aren't you?
For the most part, yes. Most orcs are.
Okay, it all makes sense now. You
Very
guys...
strong with the unions.
Oh, you know what? Suddenly everything's starting to make sense. It all comes together now.
Yes, you can keep the force. We'll keep our union.
So, okay, how about this? How accurate are orc Ds depicted in porn?
If I'm being honest, again, may I say that underestimated more than overestimated.
Really?
Yes.
So you're pretty good at pleasuring a woman then?
I would say I'm damn near an expert, and if I can't do it, it can't be done. I can last all of 31 seconds with anyone. Any woman or any elf.
Is that all it takes, or?
Well, after 31 seconds, I'm done, so obviously, that's all they get.
They don't deserve any more of the orc after that. No more Humphrey for them.
Well, they can wake me up after a nap, but I'll be asleep.
Okay, we got another question from the wizard here, Anime Acid Trip. Is it true orcs can use magic? If so, where can I learn some to impress some orc chicks?
It's not magic that impresses orcs. Magic is fake, unless shamans do it. And to impress orc chicks, you will probably have to grow 5 inches and put 100 pounds of muscle on. Some body hair wouldn't hurt.
Well, sorry, Anime Acid Trip. Looks like you're not getting any elf honey. Or he says, this stream is a figment of an orc's imagination. We are all just part of his green mind. He says this isn't real.
Clearly, he must be human. Only a human would say something that dumb.
Bar One Studios. Do orc truckers avoid a lot of lizard men at the truck stops?
Whenever we can. Lizard men are always trying to get us in on their conflicts. When you have a load to take in between states, you haven't got any time for some silly lizard man gang fighting.
Okay, so we do have a commonality here after all. My species has been through several wars with the reptoids as well.
Yes, but you're pansies. I can't imagine that went well for you.
Oh, we have a fabulous arsenal of weapons. You would have no quantum disintegrators, psychotronic beams. It's like I said, we can't fight for shit, but you get us behind a weapon, we're okay.
Blah, blah, blah. More religious nonsense.
Okay. Endless Nocturne. He's telling this to Anime Acid Trip. What you need is a Constitution buff and heal spell. or else your pursuit of an orc chip will end with your death. Snoo snoo. Death by snoo-soo. Is that true? If a human tries to bang an orc woman, is it pretty much death?
Yes, but not because she'll stab you. Because of her tusks. If she goes down on you, you're going to bleed to death.
Let's move on.
Yes. I'm getting excited. Move on.
I don't really want to think about that. Owen Richter asks, what are your thoughts on the Uruk-hai?
That's like asking the Germans about the Aryan nation or the Jews about Zion. Don't ask me. I have no opinion.
Okay.
They think they're better than everyone.
Anime acid trip. The only elf I want to fuck is a high elf archer from Goblin Slayer. That's not a bad choice.
I don't know why we're sharing. Did this become a group all of a sudden? Who cares? You claim to be a wizard.
Wow, Anime Acid Trip has quite a bit of questions about your sex life. He wants to know about orc dick now. Will the orc dick split a girl in half like that hentai game I once watched?
Split in half? No. Stretch and make them look like they rode a horse for 3 hours? Yes. They will be bow-legged. Most orc men only last 7 seconds, though, so they don't hurt them much.
Anime Acid Trip continues. Okay, orcs. Orcs are wrong in The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings. What about goblins? Can we slaughter goblins?
If you find a goblin, feel free.
Do they taste good?
Everything tastes good. They're about extinct, though. You find one, kill it, put its head on the wall. It'll be worth something someday.
Ricky Joya, what do orcs think of tofu?
It's torture. It is a punishment from Zoc when you have displeased him and you can't afford better hot dogs.
Elton Voorhees, are orc tusks an asset or an annoyance?
They're an asset until they get in your ass.
Okay, yeah.
Well, you claim to have watched orc on elf porn. I assumed you already knew this.
No.
Ugh.
Nothing with the butt.
Well, females can get rather frisky with their mouths. You have to be tough or kick them out.
Okay, Wolf 10, just saying, hey, I'm a werewolf.
I don't believe in werewolves.
Okay, so
keep it in your pants.
Elton wants to know what's the most dangerous game, an orc or a human?
Orc, obviously. Humans can't hunt or hide. Sure, you can make a space shuttle, but where has it gotten you? You can't even return to the moon yet. Let me interrupt for just a moment. Daryl Clayton, goblin lives do not matter. They are not underdogs. Thank you. Continue, Grey One.
What's your issue with goblins?
Thieves.
Thieves?
They've started more wars. They're the enemy of all orcdom and humanity. Since they can't get ahead of either, they go under us.
So you're more racist against goblins than you're racist against humans, is what
I wouldn't say I was racist against humans.
Well,
By Zoc, I'm racist against goblins.
I don't know. You sound pretty racist against humans as well. I'm just going to be upfront with you.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I even have a human that's my friend, so I don't see how I could be racist against humans, dumb as they are.
You have a human friend?
Yes, I have one human friend.
Male or female?
I think he's male.
You think?
Well, he's a male man, so he must be male.
Wolf 10 Media. Is the orc fans of the Ultimate Warrior?
The Ultimate Warrior? He's human. I have no time for that fool. That painted, greasy fool. No.
Actually, there's a question. Are there any orcs in pro wrestling?
Yes. That's why so many pro wrestlers have long hair, so you can't tell as easily. That way we don't get prejudice against us, and some orcs can actually get ahead in the sport.
You file down the tusks. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, some do. Those who don't have pride in their race will, yes. Take the garden shears to them. You never catch me doing that, though.
Ricky Joya wants to know, do orcs work out using the Wheel of Pain from Conan the Barbarian?
This must be from a human movie or something. Next question!
All right, Elias Claude, here's some questions for the ugly ass orc.
Excuse me?
He said, here's some questions for the ugly ass orc. What's it like to munch female orc pussy? Is it fun or a horrifying experience? Also, you have a fans only account for your ugly ass. Do you have a fans only account for your ugly ass? Lol.
I don't know what this lol means, but nobody has ever called my ass ugly. Let me tell you that, first of all. What's it like?
Sorry. It sounds like Elias Claude's calling your ass ugly.
Has he seen my ass, or is he just being a human? You know, a racist. And what's it like to munch orc pussy? Well, it's a lot better than human pussy. They never have to go to the ER after.
Oh, Wolf 10 saying that he thought the Ultimate Warrior was an orc.
No, he's a wannabe, maybe.
Okay, so which wrestler do you like then?
Me? I used to greatly enjoy all the ones that wear masks, like Sting wore a mask for a while, or Mankind wore a mask. Anyone that covered up their face. Those were my favorite wrestlers, and so few are orcs.
Okay.
The less of a human you see, the better.
Well, you know, I think right now I'd have to say my favorite is Gail Kim. So that's my favorite wrestler.
I used to like the little fellow personally a little bit. Just because after a wrestling bout, he'd be all sweaty, and so he'd already be flavored for if you wanted to cook him.
Okay, so we've got some latecomers to the stream. Just to make it clear, because Kat is not present, we've decided to bring on a special guest. His name is, I guess it's Orcanonymous. I am not going to reveal his real name, which although I think the entire audience knows now.
How do they know it? Did you say it?
Humphrey, right?
Next question.
Yeah. Okay. And I've been asking him about his feelings about the fact that apparently Orc Americans are a minority in the United States. I asked him about what he felt about the protests going on. And really, I'm trying to encourage the audience to ask him more questions. I'm trying to talk. Yes.
Can I interrupt for just a second?
Yes.
I want to say something to everybody in the chat. If I could for just 1 second.
Sure.
Please keep in mind that every rose has its thorns, just like every night has its dawn. Okay, continue, please.
Okay. Owen Lister says, Orcs got a face like Garbage Pail Kids on crack. Whoa.
I don't think that's fair to Garbage Pail Kids. They shouldn't be on crack.
I think
I might have misunderstood where he's going with that.
So I'm going to ask one more. I'm waiting for the audience to cook up some more questions for you since you seem to have pissed them off.
If you're waiting for humans to cook, you're going to wait a long time. They do everything in the microwave.
Okay, let me take that back. Does this orc have a fans-only account for his sexy ass? If he does, smashing.
No, but I'm thinking about it now.
Okay.
I'm going to get one.
Yeah, you might make some money there. You know, like I said, apparently you get yourself an elf girl, work on elf porn. Hell, you know what? You might not even have to. You could work for that one company. What is it? Orcs, right? Orcs.com.
I'm not sure the wife would appreciate me doing that in the house, but I don't really care what she thinks too much, as long as she feeds the kids.
So how do you feel about this whole fad among SJWs and kind of the woke crowd of wimpy
SJW? What does that spell?
Social justice warrior.
Why didn't you just say that?
Okay, among the whole social justice crowd, these woke couples are very interested in what they have is like a man and a woman. The woman usually is about 400 pounds, and the man a wimpy little twig of a man, and they like
an elf.
Well, yeah, actually. That might be enough. And they're into cucking, I mean, which is essentially they get a big hung orc to come in and screw the woman and debase the man. I mean, how do you feel about that? Is that racist, or is that...
No, that's nature. That's completely natural. I participated in that on the regular, but I did not know what SJW spelled.
So if anyone wanted you to come in, a woman wanted you to cuck her husband by basically screwing the hell out of her in front of him, you'd be down for that, if the wife said okay.
Having done it before, I would have to say honestly, yes.
You know, sometimes I hear they even pay to have the orc do it, so you know.
I usually only charge as much as I can get from McDonald's in one trip. I'm kind of a cheap date.
Anime Acid Trip keeps bringing up more about magic here. I guess it's because he's a wizard. If you need proof I'm a wizard and magic is real, I can share my potions for health and mana boost. Fair warning, I've got a B in potion class at school, so the side effects are bad. Not my fault.
I know a stripper named Mana. I already have a mana boost.
Oh, okay. Mr. Washington here wants to know how big an orc dong is. And we're talking human measurements here. I mean, in inches. How big is a schlong for an orc?
Well, I don't know how long inches are, but if you look at the typical human male's forearm and make a fist, add a few more fists.
And it's ribbed for her pleasure.
Yes. And occasionally his, if you don't know the difference between male and female elves.
And so are you sure you haven't killed any elves with this thing?
They all left alive.
Okay. So you've never split an elf. Okay, well that's probably a good thing.
They waddle, but they waddle out.
Daryl Clayton, would a tall white be considered a space elf? You know, I'm not going there for the sheer fact that my people have a very close relationship with the tall whites, and there'd cause some problems. I think human mythology and tall whites, that's where they came from, along with the Fae, but I don't want to piss this guy off. He sounds dangerous.
Tall white sounds like a drink with milk in it.
Let's go with that. Let's go with that.
Okay.
Does the orc date giants?
Unlike humans, I do not discriminate. I will bang anything for 31 seconds, just about, except human males.
What if we get some meat in you?
That I might.
Harble 99. We don't want roids and meth. We want anime acid trip. Well, okay, that's not really a question, but
thank you for sharing, Harble. Suddenly, this is group.
If I find myself a female orc, will they look like China and have the body type of China? Also, are they great in the sack?
Yes, and yes. But will you get one? No.
So yeah, actually, China was a human, right? What do you think of her?
She's arguably half orc, and we claim all half orcs as orcs. So she's an orc.
That explains quite a bit, in fact. Okay, so
we call dibs.
Okay, we've got this listener, anime or Owen Lister here, and he's kind of got this religion of the Guyver. It's a what?
Religious philosophy again.
He's the prophet of the Guyver, and he has to always include some comment about Guyver. So this is the obligatory Guyver comment. Is there a Guyver orc And if so, do you know where I can contact one for my Guyver cult crusade against the evil organization known as Kronos and their shape-shifting monsters?
One question at a time. First of all, is there a Guyver orc? I assure you, there must be. Can I introduce you to him or tell you his name or her name? No! I don't help humans.
And
Next question.
So it's not, so it's not like all orcs know each other just because they're orcs, right? That's kind of a racist assumption.
Basically, yes. I don't even know some of the people that I met last week. I've already forgotten their names.
Daryl Clayton wants his giant and orc porn starts drooling.
Keep it in your pants, son. Keep it in your pants.
So getting back to the topic at hand about orc lives mattering.
Yes.
This D&D thing's really upset. Dungeons and Dragons, the role-playing game, which is heavily influenced by Tolkien. It's got a lot of people really upset.
Yes.
And yeah.
Yes, very much so. D&D has always been a thorn in our side, especially with this dwarf nonsense. Dwarves are just short humans. They're not mystical creatures.
So how do you feel about, essentially young humans gathering around a table week after week with a book, making up fantasy, elf and human characters and pretending, fantasizing about killing orcs?
I love it.
Oh, you love it.
Oh,
okay.
The more you humans are afraid of us, the better. And the fact that you have to fantasize about it to do it, probably the only way it would get done. So please, keep us in your fantasy.
Okay, so we know you don't like JRR Tolkien. How about George R.R. Martin?
Who has time for that imbecile? He just writes porn. Long-winded, obliviating porn. If I wanted to read porn, I'd have learned how to read. Watch the show, though.
Yeah?
You humans almost know how to do it right. Almost.
Almost?
They find the right hole, but they still don't do it right.
So,
it's a wonder children are made at all.
Well, since we're going down the list of fantasy writers who are popular, how about J.K. Rowling? That Harry Potter stuff.
Is that magic crap?
Yeah.
Ugh. Next question.
Well, I guess I got my answer there. Let's see. We got any more questions from the audience? What kind of work do orcs do in what kind of work do orcs do in the modern work, or probably modern world?
Modern work.
What kind of work do orcs do? I mean, we know you guys do a lot of porn, and you said you
not enough porn. Yes, we do a lot of lifting and carrying, loading, unloading, drive trucks. We work in meat packing factories, unless we get in trouble for snacking.
And you guys are Teamsters.
Yes, the unions are big with orcs.
Okay, well, yeah, we got some fighting words here. Elton Voorhees, a very proud human, says that orcs have never won a war, right?
Well, it depends how you define winning. If you call surviving it, then we've won many wars.
Except you lost your homeland.
Well, there were some setbacks. Nothing that lasted.
Nothing that lasted. Okay.
Central Europe is now full of humans anyway. Who wants to live there anymore?
So Chicago's a much better place for you. I'm still kind of wondering why you didn't stick around in Canada. It sounded like you really liked Canada.
The elves were becoming too thick. At the time, there were racial tensions between us, and there was more elves than orcs.
You really have it out for the elves, huh?
It's not my fault Zoc made them for us to punish. I didn't plan it out that way. It's just nature.
So it's nature for you to want to eat them and beat them up and propeller them on your dick.
Yes.
Well, okay. Fair enough.
I don't make up the universe. I just live in it.
Wolf wants to know, the werewolf here wants to know, do orcs like Warcraft the movie?
Let me first of all say yes, and you're not a werewolf. How many times do I have to remind you? Humans.
Endless Nocturne. You should learn how to read. It's like killing, but you're killing words with your eyes.
Or I could just rip a book in half and do the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, then I don't have to learn how to read. I'll kill a book just as surely as I'd kill a dwarf.
Don't you say they aren't real? Or do you mean little people?
Little people.
How about hobbits? Are hobbits real?
Hobbits are actually the name of an orc STD. They're not real, besides that.
So what are they, like genital warts?
Gonorrhea, and I got a case of the hobbits. You just go to your doctor and he gives you a shot of penicillin, clears right up.
Okay, another one on Warhammer. What's your opinion of Warhammer 40K's orcs?
Warhammer 40K orcs are fungus. They're not orcs. Next question.
They're fungus?
Fungus. They're just walking fungus. They're mushrooms. Half a brain. Who needs that? Mocking us. More revisionist history. Trying to paint us as the idiots of history.
Well, Warhammer K is from Britain, and Tolkien was a Brit too. Maybe the Brits have it out for your kind. You ever thought of that?
They clearly do. There's rumors that I've heard of that the English government wasn't responsible for the potato famine.
Oh yeah,
I don't think it was just to kill off Irishmen. Let me tell you.
Oh, you think the Irish were just a casualty on the side? It was really the orcs they wanted.
Clearly, why would they want to kill their own kind?
I'm not even going to go there. Owen Lister, right. You orcs have won as many wars as the French. Damn, they're getting spicy with you, dude.
Have the French ever fought in a war? I think a French is the human version of condiments. They're not so much a people as a side dish.
Well,
something you refine your palate with.
You did say that you liked eating French Canadians.
They have it coming.
Oh, they probably do.
Now I'm getting hungry.
Constantly trying to secede.
Ugh.
Okay. Orc unions. That reminds me of my time at the Goodwill.
Great place to shop. Except for all the clothes stink like human. You have to wash them 3 times.
Okay, we got we're coming back to D&D.
Oh.
Here we go. This ties right back into it. Endless Nocturne asks, do you think feminists are appropriating orc culture?
Depends. What's a feminist?
A feminist would be an uppity woman who wants to change everything to fit their agenda.
That sounds like a French Canadian and purely imaginary. Next question.
Right. Growl, you take that back. It's not my fault. Seldom werewolf out. Not my fault. I seldom werewolf out of anger. Oh, okay. Wolf's challenging you.
Is it ever your fault that you don't take your medication? Next.
Acid trip. The Hobbit means genital warts. Oh no! What have I been reading? Actually, come to think of it, The Hobbit's an entirely different book if you look at it from that perspective.
It has a whole new meaning after you've seen the movie, at least. I don't know about any book.
So, essentially, it's about genital warts making their way from their host environment, going down a long cave, and eventually leading to the death of a long, throbbing dragon.
Sounds right.
Yeah, I never.
It will lead to the death of a long, throbbing dragon after a great deal of fire.
Yes. So it's entirely. The Hobbit is actually a metaphor and a parable about.
What's a metaphor?
Never mind.
Imaginary religious stuff again.
Exactly, word stuff. How about that? It's word stuff.
Oh, who has time for that?
So, what's an ideal orc woman? I mean, you got yourself a wife. What is hot for an orc?
Well, you always start with what's most important, and that's not what's on the inside that counts, but what's on the outside. She must have large breasts, most likely be nearsighted, not have a very good sense of smell, and the ability to bear children.
So very wide childbearing hips.
Yes, yes.
So why nearsighted?
So she can't tell if you're ugly or not, and she can't tell if anyone else is better looking than you.
See some logic to that. And why the sense of smell thing?
Because if you stink, you don't want her to leave because you stink. You want her to not know.
What's the orc marriage practice like? Is there a special ritual there?
You get permission from her father. You give him the equivalent of about 3 goats. You stand before the shaman and you say, I want her. And she doesn't say no. You're married.
That's pretty easy. That's really...
It is. Divorce is much more difficult. Lawyers get involved. It can take years. That's why we don't do it. A great deal of papers and things to sign to. Blech.
So, like, you just get the axe out and start hacking? Whoever survives?
Yes. They get to survive the divorce.
Okay. Daryl Clayton asks, so the Brits retold the history of the orcs in an attempt to conquer you?
Yes. They tried to drive us out of history. They tried to drive us out of the future. But we're still here.
So this hatred, though, I get the thing about the humans. Again, you had several wars with them. They took your homeland. They lied about you in history. I get the hatred for the humans, but the elf thing I'm still kind of baffled about. You say it's strictly a religious thing. God wants you to eat them.
Yes. To eat them, beat them, and mistreat them is actually the verdict, the exact scripture down from Zok.
Eat the, okay. Are there any other species that Zok specifically wants you to have a problem with?
Of recent years, goblins, but less is said about that. Less is no. Zok's will is only becoming apparent as goblins become more and more annoying.
Okay, Wolf10 Media. What do orcs cook like to cook?
What do orcs not like to cook? If it has a face, we cook it.
Yeah.
Did I not mention hot dogs already?
But good point. Good point. How about chili dogs? Chili dogs. How about chili dogs?
Well, who doesn't like a good chili dog? Especially if it's made from, an actual chili dog, those little wiener dogs.
Yeah.
You have to get a much bigger bun, but they're delicious.
Actually, going back to you said that the Germans stole your naming convention, that Humphrey was a orcish name before the Germans stole it.
Yes, before there was a Germany.
Hot dogs stolen by a German. I mean, you guys have really had a bad go of it. How about the whole thing with sauerkraut and brats? Is that another thing the Germans stole from you?
No, that is all there. No one likes those.
Okay, so that
brats were where we got the idea for hot dogs, but it's a completely original invention.
Right. Okay. So how about in World War II? Did they try to exterminate you guys too, along with the gypsies and the Jews and everyone else?
Again, not mentioned.
Not mentioned.
Noticeably missing from history. Coincidence? I think not.
Geez, just about everyone seems to have a real problem with you guys.
Oh, sure, you'll mention killing Jews and Romani, but no, nobody mentions them killing orcs.
Yeah, they even mention the gypsies, and nobody likes them.
We're good enough to be mentioned when people want to kill others. We're good enough to be murdered just like anyone else.
Oh, hey, we've got another topical one here. Endless Nocturne. Do orcs have any land deals with the U.S. that the U.S. has not upheld? If so, you might want to get your land back, just like what happened when the Supreme Court is doing with half of Oklahoma. If you're not aware, apparently the Supreme Court decided to give half of Oklahoma back to the Native Americans, which is going to be very interesting.
I have to say that I'm not sure Oklahoma is a real place. It sounds imaginary. But no, the U.S. has never given us any land, and if they have, none of us know where it's at.
Oh, hey, look who's on the show. It's my lovely wife with the huge knockers. You'd like Kat, the night editor, has said, what about hot dogs with extra onions?
Is there any other way to eat hot dogs?
Mustard, I guess. I mean, the thing is, no, look, we've been riding between 15 and 20 listeners the whole time. Kat pops up and it's already up to 25. See?
Well,
See, what can I say? She's the popular one. She is the popular one. What?
The sun shines on every dog's ass eventually, even a human dog's ass.
Oh,
so of course,
she's a looker. She's a real looker, at least.
No, I mean she attracted all the dogs to the room.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, yeah, the milkshake straw, everyone to the, yeah, okay, I get it.
If that picture is relevant at all, then it's obvious why they're here. Perverts.
That's pretty much her with extra muscle on her. That's about it. Otherwise accurate. Anime Acid Trip wants to know, is there any good way of writing an orc character or portray them in a good light? Yeah, actually, can you portray a good orc is what he's asking.
There's no such thing as a good orc. Good is a human term. It's a way of trying to make you fit into their world. No, there is no good way to write an orc character. Writing leads to books because they're full of words, and I've got no time for that.
So writing leads to books, books lead to words, and words lead to an angry orc.
Yes.
No. Okay, Elias Claude asks, what does orc pussy smell like? Cupcakes and rainbows, or pure, strong feminine power with death metal music playing in the background?
Mostly death metal, if you could smell it. Yeah, if I could give you the odor of death metal, that's what I would say it was like.
Hey, yeah, what's orc music like?
Mostly like death metal.
Mostly like death metal?
Yes, when you can't understand what the human is screaming, that's when we like it the best.
Or, it could be death metal. A lot of orcs might be actually making the death metal, and you just can't tell under all that hair.
Well, and it's usually sung in Orcish, so of course you can't tell. The humans can't tell. That's one of our little inside jokes. Ha ha, humans.
Oh, so is that why so much death metal is about killing humans, insulting our religions, human sacrifice, stuff like that? It's actually orc culture?
The theme is entertaining, and who can blame us for it keep coming up?
Yeah, good point.
It comes up more often than a 13-year-old's boner.
Wow. Well, Kat, God, do I wish you were here. I am so out of my element at this point.
Hey, nice fire.
Yeah, she's actually burning, I think, in that picture, Tom King's Batman.
I am not against that. Keep burning books.
Endless Nocturne. Orcs probably don't have an object permanence, so they think werewolves are just a man suddenly disappearing and a wolf popping out of nowhere.
If they were real, again, we're talking about religious nonsense. Imaginary.
So you keep talking about this religious nonsense. Now, as I mentioned, my species by and large became atheistic when we started fiddling with our genes. It was just
making love to pumpkins, as I understand it.
Yeah, yes, that's right. That's why atheists are people who make love to pumpkins, apparently. And you keep ripping on human religion, but yet you seem very devout to this Zoc character.
Well, Zoc's real. And what humans believe in, what they call God, is mostly humbly-pumbly, mamby-pamby, magical nonsense. Religious nonsense. Things that clearly could not happen.
That's fascinating.
And big words.
Big words. Yeah, a lot of big words. Yeah.
Big words are religious nonsense as well. You're just trying to confuse me.
So, the fact that all those Irish were Catholic didn't kind of cause a problem when your people were in Ireland?
We weren't sure what they were talking about, to be honest.
How about the drinking, at least?
That we could get behind.
Oh. Okay, so that's where you bonded with the Irish, is getting hammered.
Yes, and they like to fight.
That is true. They do like to fight.
They don't mind a good Donnybrook, and that's not one of the new kids on the block.
Wow, I'm kind of impressed. So orcs are familiar with New Kids on the Block. How about Backstreet Boys?
Who?
Okay, well, Kat says she can't comment more because she is vacuuming turds. I'm wondering if that's a metaphor for something.
Everyone needs to have a hobby. Don't judge.
Werewolves are real. They're the ancestors to the Zoonoids and the Chronos.
Or religious hoo-ha. Nonsense.
Well, Orcanonymous, it's been great having you on. I kind of feels like the audience has finally shown up, which is kind of sad. We went on a little too early, but you never can tell. Anyway.
Well, orcs never show up on time, so this was really a fluke for me to be early.
Oh, okay. Well, we got another great question, so I'm not going to wrap it up just yet. The wizard is asking you, how do you feel about half-orc hybrid children?
I think I already answered that, wizard. If you were really a wizard, maybe you should remember that. Yeah, orcs claim all hybrid children as orcs. We call dibs.
So what about all those people that, want to seem cool and they're all like, well, I'm, a 12th orc on my mother's side kind of thing, just so they can show they're down with the orcs. What do you think of that?
I want to see proof.
Okay, that makes sense.
Anything less than a half-breed, I don't buy it.
What kind of things do orcs build?
Bad feelings.
Bad feelings. And hot dogs, apparently.
And grudges.
Grudges. Yeah, I've noticed that. How long do you guys live?
Till we die.
Okay, that's a fair answer. Well, unless one other amazing questions come rolling in,
it better be amazing, but I have my doubts with this chat.
This is why I'm saying Kat needs to be here. She would be able to pick up the pieces. Would you fuck an orc chicken?
Would an orc fuck a chicken? If the chicken said please first.
If the chicken was pleasing?
No, if the chicken said please. We have our standards.
Actually, apparently it was a real practice in France in the Middle Ages where rich men would go to a bordello and purchase a chicken to fuck. I don't know what that says about Frenchmen, but...
I think we've already said enough about the French today. This does not surprise me at all. A condiment picking a romantic, intimate time with a meal or a bird? I'm not too shocked.
Oh, it's a real shame you showed up so late, Dominic Powell. I'm running out of steam here, and I think...
yes, I wore the gray. Not the first time this has happened, except with a gray.
Okay, I'm going to be upfront with you. My species is not all that physically imposing. We're 4 foot, on average 4'3". We're rail thin. We're not all that strong. Our bones are primarily cartilage. We're not a very physical species. If you noticed, we put all the genetic engineering primarily went to the gray matter in our head, and it had some back down. We made some mistakes in toying around with our DNA, is what I'm saying.
All I heard was blah blah blah, spinners, spinners, spinners.
Wow. Well,
don't be ashamed of your spinnerhood. Elves aren't. I'm getting excited thinking about spinners again.
Kat wants to know, bring him back. I want to whack the orc and his hot dogs. I want to.
Of course you do, sweetheart. Of course you do. It won't be Oscar Mayer that slides you the wiener, though.
So are orc hot dogs the footlongs?
And then some.
And then some. Okay.
We have to get special buns for them.
Right. Okay.
Very special buns.
I think this went over well enough. I would love to be back when my lovely wife is on air so that you can talk to a human, and she can pick up the slack when I've been overwhelmed by your orcness. So,
not surprising.
Yeah, well, wow, the questions just keep rolling in. What's the best thing to and bring me back? What's the best thing humans have ever invented that has improved in orcs' lives?
Doors.
Doors.
Before the humans had invented doors, we didn't have doors either. But then dogs come into your house much less when you have a door.
Is that a problem in orc life, dogs entering?
From what I understand, it was a big problem in Orca.
And Elias Claude, wow, he's got some real zingers here. If an orc pussy tastes so good, would it taste like sourdough dip? I need him for my need him in chips. I need my chips in them. That's.
I wouldn't say they taste like sourdough, or they do have a faint odor of sour cream and chives, though.
Okay.
Once you start, you can't stop.
We will return with Orcanonymous soon. This obviously went over very well, and Kat is very, very anxious to interview the orc. So I'm going to call it a night. We've been at it for a little over an hour. Thank you for joining us at this very special edition of Ishi's Great Big Alien Show.
Hey, is this the part where you give me the card for McDonald's?
Exactly.
The gift card number? Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, you humans have been barely tolerable. Thank you!
Thank you. Good night.